There's something people don't understand about rainforests. They don't look dangerous. They look alive, beautiful, inviting. Sunlight filters softly through the canopy. Birds sing. The air smells clean. But rainforests are mazes, and mazes don't warn you when you've stepped inside them. On May 8, 2019, 35-year-old Amanda Eller drove to the Makawao Forest Reserve in Maui, Hawaii. She planned to take a short hike. No backpack, no phone, no GPS, no one tracking her. Just a peaceful walk in nature. 17 days later, she would be found barely alive, fractured, starving, hallucinating deep inside one of the most unforgiving environments on the island. She had been there before. She felt confident, comfortable, at home in nature, but within hours she would step off the trail and vanish into one of the most unforgiving rainforests in America. For 17 days she would battle dehydration, starvation, injury, isolation, and her own mind. This is the true survival story of Amanda Eller. This is a story about how quickly confidence can turn into terror, and how the human mind becomes the final battleground between life and death. Amanda wasn't reckless. She was athletic, experienced, grounded, a physical therapist, a yoga instructor, someone who trusted her body and mind. She had hiked this reserve before. That morning felt normal. The Makawao Forest Reserve doesn't look threatening at first. Tall trees, filtered sunlight, birds calling in the distance. It feels peaceful. Amanda parked her car and began hiking along a well-known trail. She didn't bring her phone. She wanted to disconnect. No distractions, just nature. The sky was clear, the forest calm. She began walking. At some point, she decided to rest. When she got up, she made a choice that would change everything. She stepped off the marked trail. It didn't feel like a big decision. Just a slight detour, just exploring. But in a rainforest, trails disappear quickly. Landmarks look identical. Dense vegetation swallows direction. There are no straight lines, no distant views, no mountains to orient yourself, just walls of green. And once you lose the trail, the forest erases it behind you. Amanda soon realized something was wrong. The path behind her didn't look familiar anymore. She tried to retrace her steps, but every direction looked the same. That's when confusion turned into unease, and unease turned into panic. At first, Amanda thought she could easily retrace her steps. She turned around, but nothing looked familiar. The trees looked identical. The brush was thick, the ground uneven. She walked in one direction, then another. Each choice felt logical. Each step felt temporary. But hours passed. The sun began to move. The light changed, and something subtle shifted inside her chest. That first flicker of fear. Her breathing quickened. She tried to stay calm. "I'll find the trail." She kept walking. But in survival psychology, there's a deadly trap. When humans get lost, they often move too much. Movement feels productive, but in a maze, movement without orientation pushes you deeper. By sunset, Amanda realized she had no idea where she was. The rainforest at night is not peaceful. It is loud. Insects scream in high frequencies. Branches snap in the darkness. Every sound feels like something watching. The temperature drops. The humidity thickens. Amanda had no flashlight, no shelter, no food. She tried to find a place to lie down. The ground was uneven, wet. She barely slept, and during that first night, reality began to sink in. She was not temporarily lost. She was alone. By the second day, thirst took over. Your body can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. She found a stream. The water was untreated. In survival situations, that's risky. But dehydration is immediate. She drank. The water was cold, earthy, metallic. It revived her slightly. But hunger soon followed. She found small wild fruits, strawberries and guava, tiny portions, barely enough to function. Each day she walked, believing she would eventually hit a road. Instead, she descended deeper into valleys and ravines. The terrain became steeper, more dangerous. Then came the fall. She slipped on loose rock. Her body slammed into the ground. The pain was immediate and sharp. Her leg was fractured. She didn't know it yet, but her mobility was now severely compromised. And she was still lost. Hunger changes you, dehydration changes you, isolation changes you, but what truly destroys people in survival situations is hopelessness. By day 5, Amanda's thoughts began to spiral. What if they never find me? What if I walk in circles forever? She later described lying on the forest floor, staring at the canopy, accepting death. There were moments she stopped moving entirely, moments where she considered giving up. And here's the terrifying truth. Most survival cases end not because of injury, but because people mentally surrender. But Amanda had spent years training her mind. Through yoga, through meditation, she began to use breathing techniques. Slow inhale, slow exhale. She forced herself into the present moment, not thinking about rescue, not thinking about death. Just the next breath, just the next step. Around the second week, she heard something powerful in the distance. Water crashing. A waterfall. In survival logic, water flows downhill, and downhill often leads to civilization. She followed the sound. It led her to a massive waterfall basin. Beautiful, but dangerous. Steep cliffs surrounded it. No clear exit path. Trying to climb along the rocks, she slipped again. Her body slammed, her leg worsened. Now movement was agony. She was weak, malnourished, burned by the sun. Her skin blistered. Her feet were infected and torn open. She had lost nearly 20 pounds. When she was physically deteriorating, and mentally, she was fading in and out of clarity. Meanwhile, her family knew something was wrong. Her car had been found. Search teams deployed. Helicopters scanned the canopy. Volunteers combed trails. But rainforests hide people. The canopy is dense. From above, it's just green. Days passed. No sign of her. Official search efforts began scaling back. The probability of survival decreases drastically after a week. But her family refused to stop. They raised money for private helicopter searches. Time was running out. 17 days, no real food, injured, weak, alone. Amanda was near the waterfall basin when she heard it. A distant thudda sound. At first, she thought it was another hallucination. Because by now, hallucinations had begun. But the sound grew louder. Rhythmic, mechanical, a helicopter. Her body barely had energy left. She forced herself to crawl into a visible clearing. She waved her arms. Her voice was barely more than a whisper. The helicopter passed once, then circled back. They saw her. The moment stretched. A rescue diver descended, and for the first time in 17 days, she wasn't alone. She broke down in tears, not dramatic tears, not cinematic tears, The kind of tears that come from absolute relief. She had survived. Doctors confirmed. Fractured legs, severe dehydration, malnutrition, sunburn infections, extreme weight loss. She had pushed her body to the edge of shutdown. But she lived. Statistically, survival rates drop sharply after 72 hours without preparation. 17 days is almost unheard of. Amanda later admitted her mistakes. Never hike without telling someone your exact route. Never leave your phone behind. Always carry water and basic survival supplies. Never underestimate how quickly nature can disorient you. But beyond the practical lessons, her story reveals something deeper. The forest didn't attack her. It didn't hunt her. It simply existed. My nature is not cruel. It is indifferent. And survival often comes down to this. Can you control your mind when everything else is falling apart? Amanda Eller went into the rainforest for peace. She found something else. 17 days of fear, pain, isolation, and an unfiltered confrontation with mortality. But she also discovered something inside herself. Resilience, mental strength, the ability to keep breathing when giving up would have been easier. Her story reminds us of something powerful. And sometimes survival comes down to one thing: refusing to give up. Nature is beautiful, but it is indifferent. It does not care how experienced you are. It does not care how confident you feel. Preparation is everything, and somewhere in the Makawao Forest Reserve, the trees still stand, the trails still twist, and the rainforest still waits. If you want the next story, subscribe now so you don't miss the next survival story.